Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much to the honorable panelists and everyone in attendance and those who are watching us on Facebook for joining today. So this is basically a leadership talk series normally that we do at the National Incubation Center in person. And with this great opportunity that everything is happening online, virtually everywhere, it's Zoom these days. So we thought, why not talk about a topic which is very, very important. And as you all may know that recently the Prime Minister announced certain industries to open up, and only those that would remain in the lockdown phase would be the education industry, entertainment, and public places, which also includes shops, shopping malls, small, medium businesses essentially, which are going to be very affected. But at the same time, e-commerce has been allowed. And we decided why not gather all the gurus and the leaders of this e-commerce world and talk about what challenges and opportunities it brings. Well, we have seen that around the world, wherever these lockdowns have happened, there has been a very steep surge in terms of demand of whether it is food related products, whether it is groceries, medicines. So that is already happening in Pakistan as well. But would this mean a permanent surge? It is a temporary. How can small, medium businesses convert and become digitized now that we have been talking digitalization for quite a while? What opportunities does it have now for startups, for small businesses, and also for the third-party logistics and other companies who are playing an essential part, the marketplaces. So today, the panel, although needs no introduction, they are, mashallah, all quite big names in the industry. So I would briefly introduce the panel to all of you. So we have Badr Khushnud, who is a co-founder and vice president of growth at Bramers, which is a very leading full-service digital media and marketing company. Badr primarily focuses on scaling, and he has also been part of this award-winning e-commerce platform, Fishery.com. We'll hear more about it, how this can help. He's also worked for Google, Facebook, and Twitter, and has, mashallah, many big names to his credit. As judge, he has been at APAC, Asia Pacific APICTA Awards as well. But recently, he was quite instrumental, along with many other members in this panel, to form the National E-Commerce Council, representing the ICT sector at the National Commerce Ministry. So welcome, Badr. We also have with us Nadia. Nadia has, mashallah, been very, very instrumental in empowering so many women in Pakistan. She is the founder of SheOps and FemPro, which have been great initiatives to empower women economically and also empowering them with knowledge, skills, and support platforms. So she works a lot with, she's also an alumni, by the way, with of Facebook Start, and also works on Facebook Community Leadership Program. We'll hear more about that in a while as well, how she is helping women-owned micro, small, and medium businesses, and what is the opportunity now in the new normal. We also have here Ehsan Saya. Ehsan Saya is currently heading Daraz, I believe, which needs no further introduction. Daraz is a platform which has helped thousands of Pakistanis, or rather hundreds of thousands of Pakistanis would be the right word, in terms of not only getting digital, but also probably serving so many of their needs. Then we have, of course, Ahmed Khan. Ahmed Khan is credited with also pioneering various tech startups in this ecosystem in the country, multiple e-commerce ventures like Cheetah, Daraz, Kemu, etc. And he has amazing academic credentials as well, but I would not go so much into detail because Ahmed ne kaha tha ki ye bahut WWE type ka intro ho jayega if I go and read it all. But he's also served, mashallah, the likes of McKinsey, Procter & Gamble, and his expertise is mostly in early stage startups, digital and tech. And we also have here Muneeb Meyer. Muneeb is a guy who, mashallah, abhi inki video is off, his video is not working perhaps, but has a very good personality and aura as well, which is not that much of a tech entrepreneur, but more of a guru. And Muneeb currently is heading Baikia in Pakistan. He's also been one of the key players in setting up Daraz and many other ventures. And most of the people here are of his former colleagues as well. So I welcome you all. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you so much, those who are attending. Those of you who would like to ask questions, you can do so during the call as well. We'll be posting some polls as well that you can participate in. We are also live on Facebook, so I believe we have already exceeded the limit on Zoom. So those who are joining us on Facebook can post questions there. The team at the National Incubation Center is going to take those and from the comments and questions, and we post them here as well. So let me start with you, Nadia. So, women entrepreneurs, we have been talking about women empowerment a lot. And while we have not served much, in this, or we haven't done justice, to be honest, to a great extent, but you have been, mashallah, doing it for a while, empowering women, not only on the side of business, but also on skills and knowledge. What kind of opportunities now would be coming in the new normal during and post-COVID? So can you please explain how you and your organizations are going to support? Thank you.
Right. So I had thank you so much firstly for having me on the panel, and thank you to the participants who are watching. Been in this field now for the last 5 years. I've been working with women entrepreneurs in different capacities, but essentially helping them to monetize their talents and to sell online. So that was what we were doing under SheOps, which was an online marketplace. And now under FemPro, we are giving them the relevant skills to basically adapt technology, social media marketing in different areas of business. There is a presentation that I'd like to share, although my internet is not too good. If it works, great. Otherwise, is my screen visible?
Yes, Nadia, we can see that.
Yes.
Okay, so basically a little about FemPro. It's again, we have these online entrepreneurship trainings for women entrepreneurs. The offline trainings and workshops, we've had to sort of, stop for a while. Then again, we have these support circles, and essentially the area right now that we're really focusing on during these COVID times is the promotions and growth opportunities for women-owned businesses via collaborations. So at the moment, we are collaborating with different logistics partners, online marketplaces, and then again, different platforms that can help these women take their businesses online. So some of the opportunities that I see at this time, I would keep it more very specific to women entrepreneurs as well, I think it would apply to a number of other small businesses as well. But this is the time I feel it's a time to slow down and to evaluate and to develop strategies to move online. Because in my past 5 years, I've seen a lot of women try to sell through offline channels, which are your exhibitions, ho gaye, aapke retails ho gaye, again, fairs, etc. And the biggest fear for that is कि उससे ज़्यादा मैं manage नहीं कर सकूँगी या मेरी designs copy हो जाएंगी. So now the new normal is to move ahead and to think
Nadia,
about.
I believe there is a little bit problem in the internet at your end. So let's pause your video for a while you're presenting.
Let me do that. Yeah, let me just, I think, stop the share as well, and let me pause my video.
No, if you could want to share the screen, you can. We can pause one of the videos because I believe uski wajah se thoda sa problem. Now we can hear you fine. So I believe Nadia is having some difficulty in internet issue, or is it fine?
Is it better now? या अभी भी मेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही है फिजी?
नहीं, ठीक आ रही नादिया, सही आ रही।
ठीक आ रही है? अच्छा। Okay, so I mean, I would advise the small and medium, like especially the micro businesses, to have a three-pronged approach, which I feel right now is very relevant, which is first your social media presence, your Facebook and Instagram presence, and Facebook and Instagram shop listing on popular online marketplaces like Daraz. Ehsan, it's so good to have you on the panel because that is a place where women need to now move on to showcase their businesses and their products. Or dusra, again, I also feel that they need to have their own website, and for micro and small businesses, it's faster and easier to go for platforms like Fishery, Shopify, rather than building a custom website or WordPress. And these are just my personal learnings of the last 5 years that I feel is important. Again, understanding this is a time where small businesses need to understand and adapt to technology. A lot of people are using pictures जो online निकाली भी है, product की proper photography नहीं है. This is the time, learn proper product photography, social media presence, social media and digital marketing. At least the basics one should know, because these are things that people, or at least the micro business women entrepreneurs, have stayed away with. Again, those in the tech space and other businesses are already online. So, आगे when we come we can discuss the challenges, but currently the opportunity is कि जो अभी नहीं है online, get your Facebook page, your Instagram shops in place, list on marketplaces like Daraz, go for your own website. These three things are critical because that's a new normal. ये exhibitions और retail जो है ये बहुत time तक वापस नहीं आ रहा है, I mean according to me.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you, Nadia. You've pointed very well that it was going to be a long time when the typical sales channels that mostly women entrepreneurs were working on, which whatever kind of skills they had, and they were encashing those as a means of income was mostly through physical channels. It's a great opportunity, but I'll also come back again to you. But before I do, I would like to ask now, Badr as well, that what do you think, what are these challenges? Because all these platforms have existed for a while, Facebook, Instagram, online shops, and now Daraz is also there. What do you think, what are the challenges they're facing? Why is it a difficult transition so far?
Thank you so much, Fasi, once again, and thank you for inviting all of us and to all the participants जो शायद अभी हमें बोल नहीं सकते शुरू में हमारी वो casual conversations हो रहे हैं, तो apologies for that, क्योंकि हम लोग हर फोरम पे कहीं ना कहीं लड़ाई झगड़ा कर रहे होते हैं, तो इसलिए apologies for that. But challenges, actually, I think all these challenges are also opportunities. So जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, I think in the last couple of years we have really come a long way from what we where we were in terms of e-commerce and where we are today and where we are heading towards. So things have really improved in the last few years, I would say. आप ये देखें कि couple of days back जब आपने ये conversation हमने शुरू की इस panel discussion को host करने की, one of the reasons was that Prime Minister literally announced कि e-commerce deliveries open up हो रही हैं. I mean, this is a great recognition that within the digital space, it has created its own niche and carved it out very well. Or the more important thing is that e-commerce is the only digital, I would say, part where traditional businesses can really convert and measure the dollars invested and the dollars ROI in terms of ROI. So अभी तक जो अगर आप देखें जो डिजिटल की ट्रांजिशन हुई है वेब 1.0 से वेब 2.0 एंड देन वेब 3.0, वो ट्रांजिशन पहली बड़ी बेसिक सी थी, रीड ओनली टाइप था, फिर इंटरैक्टिव हुआ, अब ट्रांजैक्शनल हो गया पाकिस्तान में और मेजरेबल हो गया. सो इट्स वेरी इजी फॉर यू टू से कि मैं X डॉलर्स इन्वेस्ट करूंगा और Y डॉलर्स में आउटपुट एक्सपेक्ट करूंगा फ्रॉम माय बिजनेस ऑनलाइन. एंड दैट्स वेयर द मोर इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज कि एक और चैलेंज जो बहुत सारे ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसेस रियलाइज नहीं करते, वो ये कि ये एक वैल्यू चेन है और इस वैल्यू चेन में आपको सारी चीजों को ठीक रखने की जरूरत है. देयर आर एटलीस्ट 6 or 7 elements within the value chain of e-commerce. So just Ahmed Khan is here from GK, so Chief Logistics is important. You have payments, which is very important. You have customer care, which is social media, जहाँ लोग जाके आपके बारे में बात करें, is critically important. आपकी inventory, real time connectivity और उसकी वो बहुत important है. आपका fulfillment बहुत important है आपके supply chain के angle से. So all of these things are critical to your business, to your e-commerce business. और इन सब के पीछे एक backbone technology की है. और technology में you have multiple options. So I generally call this B&B. One is box, the other is brand. And you need to have the right balance between box and brand. So अगर आपने बहुत सारे boxes move करने हैं, volumes move करने हैं, so and that's where the marketplaces come in, like the Food Pandas and the Daraz and all of those, they come in. And then there is brand. You need to build your brand on your own brand equity. And that's where own domain e-commerce comes in. So a hybrid of both of these models really work well. But I would like to share a couple of slides with you guys as well, in the interest of everyone. If you allow me to.
Ji, please do. Please share your screen.
Sorry, just give me a second.
No worries.
Ji, I think most of us know where do we stand in terms of our current digital landscape. But this was just for those who probably do not have current data. But I mean, just in terms of online payments, जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा perception build हुई है कि PayPal के बगैर शायद पाकिस्तान में e-commerce नहीं होगा. I think that's the first myth we need to bust here in this group. PayPal के बगैर domestic commerce हो रहा है. और मैं आपको आगे नंबर्स शो करूंगा कि जो स्टेट बैंक के ऑफिशियल नंबर्स हैं वो क्या हैं. So I think this is something which is important. हाँ, हम plastic money economy नहीं है. We are more a cash-oriented economy, but I think the transition is happening towards, and we are leapfrogging directly to mobile payments instead of just acquiring cards. So but just wanted to share these numbers. And एक बड़ी important चीज़ I wanted to share with everyone, which is very very interesting. अगर आप यहाँ देखें, this map is drawn on the basis of the size of exports of the countries. So अगर आप पाकिस्तान देखें, the red circle on the top left side जो है circles के अंदर, Pakistan is very small. हमारी 200 million की population की export is only $22-24 billion. और अगर आप जरा सा नीचे आके bottom पे देखें, सिंगापुर 5 million लोग हैं और उनकी exports $373 billion हैं. Just imagine कि अगर हम half of लाहौर को ठीक कर लें तो हम सिंगापुर से ज़्यादा एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं. Just half of लाहौर. Lahore is 10 million. Half of Lahore needs to be fixed in the whole of Pakistan to come up to this level of exports. और सिंगापुर में पीने का पानी भी import होता है. They don't have any natural resource. And mashallah, we are blessed with tons of natural resources. So there is something massively wrong we are doing, and productivity per capita बहुत low है हमारी. So huge opportunity for cross-border commerce as well. So that's something which we have been working on, and I'll share with you कि हम लोग as a e-commerce group हम एक लोग क्या करें, National E-commerce Council में क्या करें. And we all know कि इस वक्त global जो e-commerce है, that is approximately $4 trillion, और उसका 15% is online. जो global retail है, उसका 15% is on e-commerce. So benchmark 15% है दुनिया का retail का which is online. And just to share, Pakistan का अगर आप right yellow box में देखें is less than 0.5%. 15% is the global average. हमारा 0.5% is online right now. This data is coming from Statista. और इसी तरह आप देखें अगर हमारे neighboring country में तो 2% उनका retail is online, US का 10% और China का 23% is online. So it is not the West leading e-commerce, it is the East leading the e-commerce. So of course Alibaba हमारे साथ बैठे हैं दराज की शक्ल में. So and और इन्होंने कल ही अपनी एक report launch किया, तो would love to have Ehsan share some of the interesting facts from that report as well. So but this is just to give you a context कि अगर हमारी current retail में से अभी अगर global average पे भी हमने जाना है तो हमारे पास almost 15% पूरा या 14% हमारे पास अभी opportunity है for our retail to go online. So huge opportunity in that sense. और ये भी एक latest report आई है Hootsuite की, ये January 2020 की report है, और आप देखें तो हमारे top 4 sectors, fashion and beauty, electronics, food and furniture and appliances are all growing at least 100 or more %. Huge growth last year, year on year, in e-commerce on these 4 sectors. Or this reflects our current trends as well. Of course, हम खाने पीने वाले हैं. आप देख सकते हैं 119% हमने खाना पीना grow किया है. Of course, सारे सबने लौने भी पहननी है, वो भी आप देख सकते हैं. 120% हम वहाँ भी growth लिए. So very reflective of our current state. And coming to the actual Pakistan numbers, this is State Bank of Pakistan official report, 2018 की उनकी annual report का data. So Pakistan की official e-commerce domestic is almost $100 billion. 100 billion rupees, sorry, just correct. 100 billion rupees, which is approximately $600 to $700 million. And that this is a 90% year-on-year growth, 90%. So very few sectors are growing at this pace. So huge opportunity for a lot of sectors to leverage e-commerce. So e-commerce का एक बड़ा फायदा ये कि cross cutting है. कोई एक specific vertical को नहीं है. It can support textile, it can support leather, it's food, agriculture, anything and everything. Toys, books, stationery, medicines, groceries, all sectors cross cutting do get impacted. और अभी जिस तरह Prime Minister of Pakistan ने real estate को open up किया और उसको declare किया as an industry, I think there's a huge opportunity कि वो भी अपने आप को इसके through leverage करें. So this sanitary items, tiles, बहुत कुछ आएगा. But this is official Government of Pakistan, State Bank of Pakistan data, which reflects कि हम कहाँ stand करते हैं इस वक्त. So e-commerce is important to Pakistan. उस चीज़ को मद्देनजर रखते हुए हुकूमत पाकिस्तान ने अक्टूबर 2019 में अपनी formal official e-commerce policy launch की, और उसके 9 pillars हैं, key pillars हैं. और इन 9 key pillars में इस वक्त काम हो रहा है. I'll give you a couple of quick examples कि जिन पे काम हो चुका है for the benefit of everyone. के government ने और and to be very honest, I would like to appreciate Ministry of Commerce, the Minister himself, Razak Daud Saab, सेक्रेटरी कॉमर्स जो कि इस वक्त अब डुअल रोल में है, बट सुखैरा साहब, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी साहब जावेद साहब, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी आयशा, एवरीवन हैज बीन रियली सपोर्टिव और हमारे साथ बिल्कुल प्राइवेट सेक्टर की तरह इन्होंने काम किया है और दे हैव रियली लेवरेज्ड अस और हमने भी इनको अब एज ए ग्रुप हम सब इकट्ठे हुए हैं और जितने ई कॉमर्स के प्लेयर्स हैं, लॉजिस्टिक्स के, पेमेंट्स के, हम सब ने मिल के बहुत अच्छे काम किए। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी जो स्टेट बैंक की रेगुलेशंस हैं वो बहुत सारी बनी हुई हैं, फ्रॉम स्टेट बैंक और कस्टम्स की रेगुलेशंस बनी हुई हैं लार्ज B2B कंटेनर लोड एक्सपोर्ट्स के लिए। सो जस्ट बिफोर दिस कोविड सिचुएशन वी हैव वर्कड डीप डाइव विद द स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान कि हम उन रेगुलेशंस को इस तरह से इम्प्रोवाइज करें कि जो आप स्मॉल पैकेट माइक्रो एक्सपोर्ट्स हैं, यानी आप एक जोड़ा, एक जूता जो बाहर DHL से या FedEx से बाहर बेचें, वो भी एक्सपोर्ट में काउंट हो सके और उसकी रेमिटेंस जो बाहर से आ रही है वो एक्सपोर्ट प्रोसीड्स में काउंट हो सके। This was not possible before this. So we're just working with all these regulatory bodies and government bodies. The very nitty-gritties of that, आपको एक law की एक clause पढ़नी पड़ती है to get those things fixed. एक और most recent success, अहमद भी हैं, SN भी हैं, हम सब ने मिलके अभी we worked with the Ministry of Commerce और हमने प्राइम मिनिस्टर से ये अप्रूवल जो भी आपने देखा है कि ई कॉमर्स डिलीवरीज के ऊपर लिया स्पेसिफिकली, एक सर्टेन SOPs बनाए जाएंगे, उन SOPs को कुरियर कंपनीज फॉलो करेंगी ताकि जो चीजें स्टॉक में हैं वो डिलीवर की जा सकें। एंड वी बिलीव कि इसके और भी फायदे हैं ऐसी कुरियर कंपनीज की ओपनिंग के लिए, ई कॉमर्स की डिलीवरी के लिए। सॉरी मैं लंबी बात कर रहा हूँ बट ये वाला मेरा पोर्शन बदर खुशनूद का नहीं है, दिस इज द पोर्शन ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द नेशनल ई कॉमर्स काउंसिल जिसमें हम सब हैं। सो जस्ट वांटेड टू शेयर दीज फ्यू अपडेट्स। मगर फॉर एग्जांपल वी बिलीव कि डिलीवरीज ओपन अप करने से इकोनॉमी डिजिटाइज हो रही है। आप अपने जो राइटर्स हैं उनको कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट में ट्रेन कर सकते हैं, उनको गाइड कर सकते हैं, उनको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं वर्सेस जनरल पब्लिक coming out and probably just going haywire in different stores. So I think there are other benefits as well, and so we work very thoroughly with all the law enforcement and everything, jitni bhi agencies thi, taaki hum ye approval le sake. And I think it took us a week and a half or so to get these approvals. So ye kaam e-commerce policy ne kiya. E-commerce National E-commerce Council का जो इस वक्त current structure है वो I won't get into the detail, but I would encourage everyone जिन्होंने नहीं अभी तक डाउनलोड की, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स की वेबसाइट पे ई-कॉमर्स पॉलिसी का डॉक्यूमेंट पड़ा हुआ है, वहां से जाके प्लीज डाउनलोड कर लें और उसके अंदर आप देख सकते हैं कि पब्लिक सेक्टर, प्राइवेट सेक्टर कौन कौन सी बॉडीज हैं, कैसे स्ट्रक्चर्ड है, हु इज डूइंग व्हाट, सो इट वुड गिव यू अ बिट ऑफ एन आइडिया. So I'll skip this part and I'll skip fishery.com much of it, but just FYI, जो मैं अभी B&B की बात कर रहा था, so you can do the box moving on marketplaces like Daraz, but when you want to set up your own store, that's where Fishery comes in. So the brand building part is where Fishery comes in, and what we have done is we have pre-integrated with all the local options, payments, logistics. So Cheetah is pre-integrated, in Swift Logistics is pre-integrated, payments में हमारे पास Easy Paisa, Jazz Cash, SIM, PhonePe pre-integrated. So that brands, SMEs, technology के ऊपर अपना time मत waste करें. It should come as a commodity like Gmail. They should just go online, put their content and kick off. And that's important. They need to start selling, they need to start earning. It's about the first check they need to receive from their sales. And that's where Fishery comes in, कि fast track किया जाए, time to market shorten किया जाए, और it should be a seamless technology experience. आपको ये सोचना ना हो मैंने WordPress का अपडेट कब लगाना है, WooCommerce का, या सर्वर ठीक है कि नहीं है. All of this is taken care of in Fishery. So that's our narrative. Last year our GMV was about $12 million, and I think that speaks for our strength in the product as well. And one last important thing for everyone: more than 50% of people who go online once, they then start doing cross-border e-commerce. So जो users जिनको आपने आज encourage कर दिया, enable कर दिया for, this is the Nielsen data, और ये latest आया भी, और and this is something very interesting कि 50% से ज़्यादा लोग जो online जाते हैं वो बाद में cross-border e-commerce करते हैं. So that's also very, very interesting for everyone to learn, and we also can leverage that. And happy to take any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Badar. We'll definitely take questions as we move on. And if you guys, the panelists, want to answer the questions, you can see them in the question answer section on Zoom. Many people have asked, especially for Badar, is this slide deck available for them? Okay. Yeah.
Screenshots लेने ज़रूरी थे.
So as you all know, that this call is recorded.
It's recorded. पहले वहाँ पड़ी होगी. हाँ.
So the response to that question is that you could watch this later on NIC website and also on YouTube. So I move on to you, Essen, as Badr mentioned, I also went through the report that Daraz published, but I believe it's best if you share some insights from it. And with while you were managing director at Daraz, the largest e-commerce marketplace, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe more than 10 million products and 25,000 sellers is the information that I have. And you also have, mashallah, 3,000 people in your workforce across the country. While we are going through all this right now, I would like you to share how it has affected. And as you're opening up now, what are the opportunities, how these more small, medium businesses can join? And the third part is, what's wrong? Why, if it all is there, we're not seeing that very exponential growth? Ji,
Gee, I think maybe I'll address your last question first about why we're not seeing the exponential growth. And I think इसमें जो Badr भाई ने जो बातें की, they're hitting the nail on the head. There's two fundamental issues. One is logistics, and second is payments. And these two fundamental issues are what make it challenging to have exponential growth. Because if you have generally, अगर आप देखें हमारे यहाँ भी अगर cash on delivery से एक order होता है and prepaid से आता है, there's almost 10 to 12% higher likelihood of it being successfully delivered. And so this, it's a small, it may seem like a small impact and just an impact on cost, but it has a lot of downstream impacts on the sellers and the way they behave. So those two things I think are fundamentally what sort of make it prevent the exponential growth. And I think it's made a lot of good work is being done. Agar aap dekhen logistics mein, you have by Kia, Cheetah, and you have a lot of new players that are innovating that inshallah will get us to the point where we can get that exponential growth. And on the payment side, I think also there's been a lot of headway that we're making in the right directions. Agar aap dekhen, for example, maybe I'll share my screen and I'll share a few insights, and then I'll get to sort of your response as well. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So when you look at,
if you'd like to go full screen on this, so that it's more visible.
So, yeah, I hope this is fine.
I think I'm sort of zoom kar le, to I think that would suffice.
Okay, yeah, I believe people can zoom in as well. Yeah,
okay,
no
great.
worries.
So it's me. I think when we look at prepayments last year versus prepayments this year, takriban 7-8% difference in just 1 year. About 32% of all of the transactions we had in terms of value this year were done through prepayments, digital payments. This may, obviously there's a few things that are important. One is you need to have access to it. So like Badr bhai mentioned, making sure you have credit card, debit card, Easy Paisa, Jazz Cash, everything. But you also need to obviously ensure that you have the right partnerships with the right teams to push that. So इसमें हमने obviously इस साल बहुत काम किया था to partner up with the banks, and that's twofold. एक तो obviously the easy one is everyone has discounts. But discounts के अलावा, it's also having that trust build up. And in this, there's a lot of issues that we have faced and we continue to face when it comes to, for example, using your credit cards, and refunds take a long time. And this today continues to be an issue. कि अगर आप Visa or Mastercard से करते हैं, so it can take anywhere between 15 days to 45 days. अगर मैं फ्रिज लेता हूँ 1 लाख रुपए का, और फिर if I have to wait 45 days for my refund, that's a lot of money that I'm tied up with. So there's a lot of things that I think that this committee that Badr bhai spoke about is making headway in. And I think inshallah अगर ये दो चीजें हम इसमें मेहनत करें, and we can get the right attention from both the private and public sector, I think it'll dramatically help the growth of e-commerce. Having said that, when you sort of asked about how we are coping with this time, एक तो obviously ये था कि in this time we were hoping in the beginning कि पूरी दुनिया में e-commerce was booming because obviously governments were saying कि भाई आप घर से ना निकलें, and instead order everything from home. Whereas over here, I think, and I think partially it was because there was a lot of uncertainty, and it was an industry that not everyone in the government understood. So they said, okay, let's halt everything and then we figure it out. So I think, alhamdulillah, we've come to a good place where the Prime Minister also said and encouraged that e-commerce activity picks up. And it's very important that this happens, because the way I look at it is, and I was reading a case study a few days ago, and इसमें दिखा रहे थे कि when Alibaba really hit their dramatic growth was in 2003, 2004. And this is when SARS hit China. And for them, it was a very similar impact to what it is today. Hum sab lockdown mein, they were, Alibaba was also in a lockdown. They had all the engineers sitting at home and coming up with a product that they had to launch during the lockdown. And they noticed that internet penetration dramatically increased, digitization dramatically increased. And obviously, ye sab aajkal jokes aap padhte honge ki, we spent 5 years working on digitization and COVID did it in a few days. But the idea is that that obviously these circumstances have changed how offline and online are working now. For the first time, I'm also seeing that a lot of the brands that were hesitant before are now coming to us and saying, "Ki bhai, aap kitna jaldi hame online le ja sakte hain." Small, medium businesses are looking at the same thing. Because
so I'll just ask a little question. Sorry to cut. Jab aapne kaha ki many brands are coming, can you also elaborate like what sectors, what industry? Kapdon ki dukanein hain, shoes ki hain, electronics hain. What are this where you see the rise? Aur kya ye tier 1 cities mein se hain, main Q clip hai ya tier 2, tier 3 se? Sorry to cut you. Sorry.
No, of course, and that's a very valid question. Or tier 1, largely jo fashion brands, and they're very interested. You also see brands that are in lifestyles that are interested, and generally, ye brands obviously they're based out of tier 1. But abhi, with this, we're also seeing a big growth come out of the SME sector, because as we all know, that even once inshallah the lockdown ends, and it'll take time. It'll take time for people to feel comfortable. It'll take time for the markets to open and for people to actually go back on the streets. So during that time, our economy has to like go full force. And digitization and e-commerce is actually the best way to do it, because the way I look at it is this: that if you go to the bazaar or aap shopping karte hain, to aap, you might go and you might not buy something. You might go and you look at a bunch of things and you say, yeah, I don't need it, I'll go home. So you've actually had a physical interaction when you didn't actually need to buy something. Whereas your interaction online is aapne sari research kar liya, aapne falana jagah pe dekh liya, aapne price comparison kar li, then you say, okay, check out. And then, a rider, a hero for Daraz, we have a logistics company called Daraz Express. So in this instance, a hero would either pick it up from the vendor, or the vendor would drop it off in a safe manner. And this is what, when Badr Bhai spoke about the SOPs, we're able to control them a lot more. We can ensure, just like COVID hua tha, we ensured that all our heroes were wearing gloves, masks, they were wiping down every package. So the interaction is limited, right? Instead of it being an interaction where you're just going to observe and check out, if you want to buy something, you're actually going with a purpose. And it's interesting that actually some of the buying trends last year, I think if we look at this 1 year from today, it'll evolve a lot. Abhi aap dekh rahe hain jaise phone cases, top ups, headphones, and things that are sort of related to electronics. But we've noticed that there's such a dramatic increase in the FMCG sector, where people are really looking, to ensure that they're not only buying more, but they're buying actually their items per basket have increased. So if I look at, for example, our grocery orders in the last month, they've increased maybe 50 to 60%, but the basket size has increased 70 to 80%. So this also goes a little bit to the panic buying segment, where people are like, "Bhai, ye aata khatam ho jayega. Let me make sure I have enough aata to survive, comfortably," or whatever it is that they need. So their buying behaviors and patterns are changing, and I think these patterns are allowing people to become more comfortable. And so I think, inshallah, when I look at sort of what emerged in 2003, 2004 with Alibaba, what is happening, today with the e-commerce sector and with buyers becoming more interested in digitization and e-commerce, I'm very hopeful. And and I think it's very important to channel this hopefulness, because I think we will find a lot of opportunities in this time as well. And I think it's important for us in Pakistan to ensure that we don't go through this and come out the same way where we were. We take this time and we ensure that we actually leapfrog forward, and we actually use this time to think, what were the things that we should have focused on, and how do we evolve today and focus on the right things that inshallah get us, to what Badr Bhai was talking about, and get us to the area where segment of Singapore and having 5 million people and having a significantly higher GDP. It's not an impossible task. It's really, really not. We have a young population, and a population of over 200 million people, and and an incredibly smart, hardworking population, mashallah.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Aapne badi achhi baat ki. You said that because every problem is basically an opportunity for many. This problem is a problem of many, hence an opportunity for many more. By the way, we just posted a poll as well. Those of you who can see, please do fill in the poll. In the meanwhile, while everyone is filling that in, this actually now brings me to you.
I have one thing just about the poll. I just saw it and I voted yes, but I think there's a caveat. I think short term there will be a decrease in spend, but I think long term we're actually going to see benefits come out of this. So of course I didn't have options, so I pressed yes because I looked at it. Now I look at things on immediate term, which is 3 hours from now. But I think in a short term, in a few, for some time, yes, just the general retail sector is going to shrink. But in the longer term, the retail sector will recover, and the e-commerce segment of that, inshallah, will be a bigger portion. Sorry to interrupt you, but now we're tied.
Great, no worries. Thank you, Hassan. Then thanks for sharing such a optimistic and promising view, and inshallah, I hope this is also what it translates into reality as well. This brings me to you, Muneeb. You have been quite a proponent of more indigenous and more local growth and industry to be promoted. You also brought forward an app which is also in Urdu, and you cater to a very different audience as well. So as the problem has brought this opportunity, I just wanted, so by the way, the result is that most of the people, around 56%, believe that it will cut their online spending, and I hope this is only temporary. So I just wanted to share with you all that your delivery, your logistics service providers, it brings a great responsibility on all of them. And I saw that Ahmed from Cheetah also shared SOPs in the National E-Commerce Council group that we are part of, and you guys also are following, I'm sure. Perhaps you can also share with our audience here, because it's great that small, medium businesses get a chance to digitize, more women entrepreneurs, more opportunities for opening up your stores, or getting on marketplaces like Daraz. Muneeb, how do you think the safety of an average package, which is exchanging, 20, 30 hands to go to the ultimate recipient, will be ensured? And how do you see the surge? Is it going to be temporary, permanent? Your views overall on the risks?
Yeah, so I hope you can hear me fine. So I think what will happen is short term, we will absolutely see, we will see basically people spend a lot less, right? And I think, I think basically people's disposition to even buy online will primarily be for things that they absolutely need, right? Because most people have diminished the amount of money that they're spending. Right? Now, when they do spend, and assuming that this lockdown prevails, they would want that whatever person comes to their house comes to their house not as a carrier, but someone they can trust. And I think as logistics platforms, we can try to do whatever we can to essentially help alleviate some of those fears, right? So in Bikea's case, I mean, something that we're launching next week is the ability for all customers to be able to see on the map screen the temperature of the driver partner who's coming towards them, right? So you should get that assurance.
You took my next question away. That's nice.
So you should get that assurance that they're not carriers of the fever. The second thing is that I think we've been fortunate that the motorbike category in itself is a category where people have historically had plastic shields in front of them in the face of visors on helmets. So I think there's some level of protection there. Then when driver partners also wear masks, there's some protection there. And mandating SOPs around gloves is not going to be very novel for these guys either, because most motorbikers have historically worn gloves at some point. So I think basically from a logistics perspective, companies will try whatever it is that they can do in their power to essentially make sure that SOPs are followed, one, and two, that basically their own fleet operators are essentially somehow protected and ensuring that they are also protecting people that they're delivering for, right? So I think on the one side, we will be taking steps, but I think more broadly, given that you've got 100-odd people who are probably watching, most people who are watching have something to do with technology or startups or are interested in startups. And I'll tell you that, from our perspective, we believe that even though this may seem like the worst time ever for a startup, right? Particularly if you've got to pay payroll and you've got no revenue coming in or hardly any revenue coming in, I think this is also one of the best opportunities to think and to build what will be meaningful in the future. Because we will come out of a lockdown. People will come back to the normal. And, what are the things that we can build today that will be useful for people in 45, 60 days from now, right? Because you can't expect that people are going to live in their houses or homebound forever. It's not going to be forever, right? So ultimately, people will be coming out. People's behaviors will return. They will perhaps be saving a lot more. So I think their disposition to splurge money will diminish, but they will come back. And how are we preparing today for the opportunity in 60 days from now? So I think all of us need to be thinking of that opportunity, because I, in a strange way, I actually love this lockdown. Okay, and the reason I love it is because I personally am actually more productive in this lockdown than I was going to work. Because at work I would be constantly bombarded and distracted by people, right? And people constantly trying to have a meeting with you. And what I'm beginning to realize is that, working from home where you have fewer distractions has allowed me and some core members of my team to focus and drive more productivity and hold more accountability of our team members as well to build things that are important to build, things that will be relevant 60 days from now. So I'll leave it at that. I think listen, let's not fool ourselves. This is one of the worst times in history. The country is going to go into a recession. The world is going to go into a recession. There will be unemployment. People's incomes will be diminished, and they'll try and start saving more money. So let's be cognizant of that. But on the other hand, I also believe that there are opportunities to build things that we were too perhaps busy not to build, because we were so caught up in the day-to-day operations of what we used to do that we just didn't have the time to build that stuff. So from our perspective, I think the mandate within our company is that the next 45 days will be pivotal in us evolving into who we really need to be as a platform.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Thank you so much, Muneeb. This is good, great insights, and great to know that your riders now are being better taken care of. And I'm sure this would be the case even before. But I also agree that many realizations that have come out of this lockdown are how important people are, people around us, people within our teams. And this is where I would like now to ask you, Ahmed, that hygiene of people and products, I believe this importance has added a lot more value to it during this lockdown phase. And while every company wants to make sure its people are the core drivers of its success, how are you coping with it? How do you see post-COVID logistic and third-party logistic space in Pakistan and in the e-commerce space.
Thank you very much, Fasi. Even though this wasn't scripted, the first thing I wanted to actually talk about was people and how important, the welfare of people, not just our employees, but, the public at large is, we have so many people below the poverty line. I was looking at numbers and it's like 12 million people who need immediate financial assistance and things like that. And obviously, a salute to all those companies who have not laid off people and, who are continuing to absorb the payroll and continuing to serve their people. What that's led to is, all these SOPs that Badr was mentioning and Munib was mentioning that, people that companies are adopting and, they're also being mandated by the government. So, in many ways, we are the ones who came up with these SOPs and presented them, consolidated them. All the private sector got together and built these SOPs, gave them to the government. And if you look at the notifications that have come out, they're very, very detailed. And if you look at Cheetah infographics, a lot of that are incorporated in the Cheetah infographics as well. Other things that Cheetah is doing is we've developed an app called CoCare. So the CoCare app is a trace and track of the spread of the virus because we have tracking capability and we have tracking technology. So what our technology does is, and through Bluetooth, we can actually once a person is diagnosed, we can actually tell which other people that person came in contact with, how close they were, and if we can partner with the government and the telcos, then we can definitely because the easiest part is obviously prevention rather than cure. So we can actually prevent through active testing and through targeted testing the spread of this virus. So these are all the things that are happening. And just to echo Munib's point about the global recession that is coming, what's going to happen is sort of cross-border is going to become, I think, even more difficult now. Travel is going to become even more difficult. We have to look internally, develop indigenous systems, and set up our own manufacturing and come up with our own raw materials and build our own economy to work internally. All the people who are abroad and working, their visas are not being cancelled, but they're being asked to return home. So foreign remittance is going to be a problem. All the countries in the world are printing money like crazy, which means that either everyone is going to be devalued. When everyone is devalued, then no one is devalued, right? So all these sort of things are going to make it a lot harder. And just to talk a little bit about e-commerce and what's going to be the new normal in e-commerce. First thing is buying trends are going to change, right? What people buy, I think it's going to significantly change. Like even if you look at it right now, who would have thought that hand sanitizers would become the most bought product anywhere, online, offline, wherever. Furqan Saab mentioned a point which I'd also like to echo, that we need to reimagine customer experience, right? And part of that is customer service, how we interact with the customer, how we can bring our products to the customer's home, because they're not really leaving, they don't want to leave. Virtual reality, augmented reality technologies are, I think, gonna be fast tracked, and they're going to sort of become more mainstream, because again, brick and mortar strategies I think are going to change a little bit to cater for the fact that people want to do more e-commerce. And then to talk about the future of work, we're already seeing, right? We're holding this webinar on Zoom, right? And that leads to conversations about what is proper etiquette. And that again leads to one of Munib's points, productivity has, even though I personally hate the lockdown and I would never ever want to go through it, but the fact is true. Like there's etiquette. Normally in a seminar like this, 16 people would be talking on their phones and talking to each other. They still might be doing it, right? But the fact is that there's a new etiquette, and meetings are a lot more productive. One thing for certain is that this session would never have started on time if it was held anywhere, like in any session, in sort of any physical location, right? So people are becoming more productive. People are becoming more cognizant and more empathetic towards other people's time. And
reality mat bataye yaar, please.
Sorry. But one of the things we were casually talking about when we weren't supposed to be, and I apologize for people who had to hear our friendly banter, is you're at home, kids are here, Your families are here. I was just in a call with a senior member of the team, and his wife kept coming and saying, "Ki yaar, khana lag gaya," right? And now that's nothing to be embarrassed about anymore. In previous days, you'd want those boundaries. Those boundaries are being broken down now because all the situations have changed. That's going to lead, and I think the companies that are going to survive are those who are most agile and who come up with the right processes and use the right tools. So it's very important to build these SOPs. It's very important to use tools like Jira, Confluence, Zoom, Slack, to improve communication and to be able to track communication. You have to do a lot of problem solving with your teams. That's all going to have to go remote, right? Businesses that are growing, digital finance, online education, telemedicine, is I think really going to take off as well, because at the end of the day, that's one of the primary sort of things that you need in your life. And to end on a sad note, credit and investment are going to be very hard to come by. There's going to be severe credit crunch. Investors will not have the money to spend on growth startups or these sort of high burn startups, at least in my opinion. Obviously, looking at e-commerce, I think that's going to be a good area to be in. But overall, there's going to be a severe money crunch. People are going to survive, and what I think that should lead to is income equality. This sort of disparity of the rich having so much more money and so many people below the poverty line. I think this is a great opportunity to sort of level that playing field as well. So yeah, there's a lot happening, and there are a lot of opportunities coming out of this. But like Fasi said, okay, let's think about the people first, and let's think about all the things we can do to help people, and cost structures, reduce cost structures, because profitability is going to take a hit. But overall, I think it's worth mentioning that people are very resilient, and Pakistanis especially are more resilient than most. And I expect our people to come through, and hopefully very soon we'll be back, doing everything that we love doing.
Thank you, Ahmed. Yes, I hope that we are back soon to do what we love to do. I was reading this report by Board of Innovation. I'm sure you might have read. By the way, there's a new poll that we've just started. In the meanwhile, please answer this. So it is on shifts in the low-touch economy. And in that report, it mentions what kind of shifts will happen in many fronts. So 6 areas: human behavior. So for example, in future, it is highly likely that immune certifications would be required from people. So good opportunities for startups, blockchain platforms to be probably opening up, but also probably for all the people that you guys have hired as your delivery riders. They might be asked, hey, are you immune? Have you certified? Have you tested? So what can show on the app, as Moni mentioned, temperatures would not show. Industry dynamics will change. So a lot of supply chain disruption, supply chain optimization would be there. And we have lots of questions on that as well that I'm going to move on to. Similarly, on technology, contactless everything probably might be the future. Remote everything might be the future. So many services are very likely to pop up on marketplaces or otherwise available, freelancing, etc. Protectionism. So yeah, probably geopolitics is another one. Macroeconomics. So you've already talked about it. And a very limited access of capital would be available. I wanted to ask more questions on this part, but on next week, on the same Saturday, we are having an investor series on South Asia investment climate check. So we'll have VCs from different countries in South Asia online to discuss the new normal investment climate. And this is also a series. So in our next session, which will be from 2 weeks from now, we'll have some startups online, some starting ones or those who have just raised their rounds. How do they feel and how they're evolving? The other one is also regulation. As Badr pointed out, new probably laws and regulations will come, but probably also new privacy laws. This is also something we see evolving very rapidly. I'll move on to questions now, if you allow. So we have quite a few. I've seen that some of have been answered. Ahmed is answering as well. So one of the question is basically from Mr. Ahmad Nadeem. Is it right time to launch a pure innovative startup? His field is related to AI and he wants to build a startup based on it. Only Pakistani focused startups. Similarly, another question, I'll start with two, is that, is it good that e-commerce sales? Yeah, so what type of RFID systems can be used by a startup? This is from Munib. And any local systems that you believe are very expensive. Indigenous production is also being asked of. How can we move on to it with not much reliance on China, the factory of the world? G. Munib, perhaps you can answer this, and anyone can answer the AI one as well.
Yeah, so basically मुझे पहले AI वाला सवाल समझ आया, दूसरा वाला मुझे सवाल समझ नहीं आया. So AI वाले पे, I think it's a tremendous opportunity if anyone can essentially take artificial intelligence जिसमें लोगों की facial recognition के तहत उनकी attendance हो सकती है, ठीक है? So I think basically from an attendance perspective there's a great opportunity. I don't know, लोग पता नहीं आगे पीछे traffic देखते रहते हैं और fashion देखते रहते हैं. Attendance is super important from an AI perspective.
Okay?
चाहे वो remote
Just to add,
attendance हो,
ये पाकिस्तानी स्टार्टअप है फसी, फरहान मसूद, he does the same thing. उसका स्टार्टअप में
attendance?
वो facial recognition है.
Yeah,
Attendance?
Solo
No
Insight.
touch. Yeah, Solo
Yeah,
Insight.
Solo Insight. There's another
Sorry
startup
for
Pakistani
interrupting.
by the name of S-Tech, NIC का ही startup है, which is also doing
Yeah,
the same.
Just
Yeah,
connect
many
me with them.
startups are doing this.
I'd love to speak to them.
I believe he might be online. My team is there, and we'll be sending out the
अगर
details.
पैनलिस्ट उसमें equity share लेंगे किसी भी डील में आज जो होगी इस कॉल के दौरान.
That is a between the two of you.
दूसरा सवाल
And
क्या
is
था
good.
मुझे समझ नहीं
जी.
आई.
दूसरा ये था बेसिकली कि आरएफ, मेरे ख्याल में उनका कोई स्टार्टअप है जो कि आरएफआईडी के ऊपर काम करना चाह रहे हैं, तो वो लोकल सिस्टम से पूछ रहे हैं क्योंकि वो बड़ी एक्सपेंसिव हैं. तो आपकी नज़र में सप्लाई चेन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से क्या आरएफआईडी में लोकल डेवलपमेंट हो रही है, और इंडिजिनस डेवलपमेंट इस वैसे भी नीड ऑफ द आवर? सो इफ यू एनी यू
I have no
Ahmed,
idea.
Daraz, anyone can answer.
I have no idea.
Okay. Another one is, especially as the industry is moving towards a different fix right now, how to increase the e-commerce fashion sales in a situation where everyone's focus, as you all mentioned, is to save money. How to push their customers? What are those new effective ways of marketing?
Landa online करें please.
Yeah, देखिए, I can also add something here. So I think देखिए fashion में ये कि you can get something for 400 rupees, you can also get something for 8,000 rupees. It's the market is very wide, and of course, जैसे मुनीब ने बोला था कि spending will change, but people will still need to buy things. They will still need, you know, it's not that the needs and the wants will go away entirely, and fortunately or unfortunately they're very ingrained, but what they buy will change. जो behaviors हैं, जो चीजें अगर आप पहले phone लेने वाले थे, आप बोलते हैं यार maybe I'll make the phone last a little bit longer, you know. But so even within fashion, I would also say that, you know, there's a lot of areas and accessories where the margins are good, as well as they're generally things that are, you know, very cheap and something that you can buy spontaneously. You know, I want something for 200 rupees. It'll come and I'll feel kind of nice when something just arrives. So it's me. I think you just have to look at things that are a little bit lower on the value side, because obviously I think spending habits will just decrease slightly in the short term. So I think there's still opportunities, just where your item falls in that value chain.
Sorry, फर्स्ट चीज पे मैं एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहूंगा, which is very interesting, जो बिल्कुल अभी बात की मुनीब ने भी और ऐसे ने भी. So I was talking to someone in Karachi yesterday. तो सिंध में अभी उन्होंने अलाउ नहीं की है कुक्ड फूड की डिलीवरीज. तो रेस्टोरेंट ने अनकुक्ड फूड किट्स डिलीवर करना शुरू कर दिए हैं जो जरा स्मार्ट है. उन्होंने कहा ये कुक्ड नहीं है, अनकुक्ड है, पूरी किट हम आपको भेज देंगे, घर बना लें आप. I now remember उमैर निजाम से मेरी बात हो रही थी, उमैर from e-commerce gateway, he was telling me कि मुझे तो फूड किट्स मिल लेती, मैं घर पे बर्गर बनाता हूँ पूरी, मतलब उतनी वेजिटेबल्स.
जॉर्जियन जुगनू ने भी स्टार्ट किया लाहौर में.
सही. So the point is कि थोड़ी सी इनोवेशन चाहिए. और इसी तरह आई थिंक जो आप फैशन कैटेगरी की बात करें, हो सकता है कि लोग शायद आप बहुत हाई एंड ना ले रहे हो, बट जिस तरह आई एम इम्प्रेस्ड कि अब सारी माएँ जो हैं वो बच्चों के लिए घर पे खाना भी अच्छा बना रही हैं, बिकॉज आदतें तो सारे रेस्टोरेंट्स की हैं, तो अब वो घर का खाना भी उस लेवल का बनना जरूरी हो गया है. तो इसलिए आई थिंक इसी तरह कपड़ों में भी ये होगा कि शायद बहुत सारी चीजें स्टिचिंग घर पे होनी हो या कुछ. आई थिंक थिंग्स विल चेंज, द पैटर्न्स विल चेंज, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स द bet we all have to take. There's no one fixed answer to it.
I think there's a huge opportunity for used clothes. You know, I think you know we keep thinking about कि जी, oh, you know, flani lawn aa gaya. Forget that market. You know, that market is basically a very, very niche market, जो कि basically wants to be seen and show around, right? talk about basically economy अच्छी है कि बुरी है, लोगों ने इतवार बाजार जाना है.
You're right, Muni, but this brings me to the next question. Perhaps, Nadia, you can start with this, answering this. So, what are those platforms where all these people can go and start selling? Because eBay and the likes of them, well, they do exist. लेकिन यहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ा दूसरा इशू भी है, क्योंकि अगर इसको हम B2B में लेके जाते हैं इस pre-loved business को, so most of them would go and seek. There's also a question by Usman on SIM as well, कि small loans चाहिए, लोगों को credit चाहिए, you know, जैसे Alipay करता है 3-to-1 के नाम से, उनका बड़ा famous model है. SM probably can add to it. But Nadia, so question for you, what do you see? How can you bring more women in this? Now that they are sitting home and thoda sa cash crunch aa raha hai, and people would need more, helping hands. And how can we empower more women to come on board in this?
Initially, so obviously a lot of women have been there on the typical Facebook platform and Facebook pages, but it is time now that, connecting, like let's say Fempro is a connecting platform to connect with marketplaces. Aapke Food Panda Home Chef program hai, then there's Daraz has a small businesses ka, I think Alamgir head kare, so those are the places where women need that hand holding to connect. Again, अगर वो organic sales की हम बात करें तो Facebook groups जो हैं, they provide a very good organic platform for all small businesses, because now there are a number of buy sell groups on Facebook. There are some that specifically are for technology, कुछ सिर्फ clothes के लिए, कोई baby items के लिए, कोई, as Muneeb said, even pre-loved चीजों के लिए. So that's one place they can access for free. Then we have marketplaces like Daraz, जहाँ पे अभी women are hesitant. We constantly get this whenever we try and encourage them to sign up, they are hesitant because they, like, payments देर से आएंगी, नहीं होगा, हमें sales नहीं मिलेंगी, etc. But it's time to connect them to these platforms, and plus even websites. Like, I do not encourage small sellers to have their own websites. Badr said they need to focus on selling. So आपका Fishy हो गया, Shopify हो गया, and if you have more platforms like these, those are the places where we need to take these small businesses, and we need to have connecting platforms as well. ये platforms तो हैं, small businesses भी हैं, but the connectors are missing, जहाँ पे we can train them on that, that part कि अच्छा अगर उनका seller dashboard है, it's not as difficult as it seems. So if these connections can be made, they will have a lot more opportunity to sell.
Thank you, Nadia. Ji, Ehsan, on the small time, agar koi credit loan, cash injection for the B2B online e-commerce platform. Ji.
Yeah, I think Ismay, obviously, I think this is an area that we also want to continue focusing on, because naturally the biggest struggle a small medium business has is A, if you can actually get a loan, then B, the cost of debt is super high, right? So the idea is that actually, companies like Daraz and other ones that you have today, they actually know a lot about the behaviors of the sellers or in some instances their riders. And I can know that if someone was to sell 5 bottles, whether they sold the bottle on the first day, and he's just waiting for his payment in order to have working capital financing in order to be able to do that. So I think there's obviously a lot of opportunity in SME lending, and actually SME lending at a very attractive rates, because I think to some degree I always have this belief that some SMEs have a lower risk profile than the government. And in fact, you should be able to lend to them at a lower rate perhaps than what what the interbank rate may be. So I think there's obviously a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of, it's a very regulated space. So it's an area where Alipay has done tremendous work in China, and we're hoping to be able to work towards that as well, inshallah, in the future. It's one that allows a lot of increase in the SME segment if they can get the financing. But also one thing that I think that Nadia mentioned that's very, very important is the element of training SMEs, because we have 50 hubs across the country, and har hafte the classes hoti hain to teach people on how to sell online. Besides that, we have a Daraz University which walks you step by step कि आप पहले दिन ये करें, दूसरे दिन ये करें, and we walk them through exactly how how they should sell, whether it's on Daraz or not. And in fact, we just did a partnership with KSBL where we're going to be actually offering certified courses where any seller that's on this university can take a course on introduction to finance or business ethics. And the idea is to use Daraz University to educate as many sellers as possible, not even if they don't want to sell on Daraz.
That's a great idea. Would these courses be in Urdu as well?
Yes, they will be in Urdu, inshallah. And they'll actually, you'll get a certificate from KSBL once you actually pass the course. but the quizzes I've heard are quite challenging.
Essen, on this line, we have received quite a few questions online on Facebook and here in the Q&A section as well. Regarding, we talked about this before the call on the phone as well, okay, over time, Daraz has also faced different kind of issues, and there's been a pattern. They've evolved, you know, from onboarding now to maturity. One of them is now more on, one was returns, and then other is customer service, the quality. So how are you evolving as you onboard probably more players now on what are the SOPs or policies regarding ensuring the quality of products? So a quick answer, because I have a few more questions to ask.
Yes, so I'll be very, very quick, but of course, any marketplace has to have tight controls. Even if it's a marketplace, you know, we as Daraz have to take ownership of the customer experience. So first of all, any product that's not as advertised, or if it's fake, you know, something that's broken, it arrives to you, we will ensure that you will get a refund, you know, immediately into your Daraz wallet. But also, it's important not just to do that for the customer, but also to have SOPs for the seller. So they have SOPs and SLAs on delivery fulfillment time, on the quality of the products. And so if they breach those, then they can either get temporarily delisted, permanently delisted, and oftentimes they can also get financial penalties. And I think what the beautiful thing about e-commerce is actually that you can have it's a peer-to-peer, right? So if I buy something and I don't like it, actually I can put an image review. The other day I saw a really funny one of a cat toy, right? Where it said that this is how it looks beside my cat. And the idea is that customers can actually, you know, अगर आप ज़्यादा मार्केट से कोई चीज़ लेंगे, तो दुकान वाला बोलेगा भाई ये चीज़ number 1 है आप ले लें. But in this, you can read and get that. So I try to answer that as quick as possible, because I think, you know, I'm sure you have a few other questions you need to answer, but the idea is you need to take ownership of it. You need to have SOPs, and you need to ensure that whoever works in an ethical and manner can stay and do this in a marketplace, and whoever cannot be part of the system, unfortunately, until they improve.
Thank you. Thank you, Essen.
Sorry, Fasi, although the time is short, I'd just like to add one small point that I missed about the loans and access to finance. If there are any women-owned businesses watching this, so State Bank has this program especially for women entrepreneurs, where they are giving loans at a very highly subsidized rate. So we are partners with JS Banks, and we are offering this Khud Mukhtar loans to women. We are guiding them on the business plan and all those things that they need to get these loans. And I think under 5 lakhs, if it's even collateral free, you can get those loans for your e-commerce business as well. Again, for working capital, there are logistics companies like Trax that offer a 24 to 48 hours payback. So for small and micro businesses, that's excellent, because they have almost a countrywide delivery, and the working capital is available because you get your card back in like 24 to 48 hours.
Fasi, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Sorry, I will move on to this question asked by Saad Idris. That this pandemic is seeing a lot of tech enablement happening on the consumer side, and lots of digitization on the banking side as well, as a support on the policy level. What other pieces are missing that need to start happening in the ecosystem before e-commerce can meet or cross the 15% mark? Badr, would you like to answer? And Ahmed, probably.
मैं पढ़ने ही लगा था, मैं सॉरी पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहा था, और साथ ही आपने so I'll just give me a second. I'll need maybe Mureeb, if you can start, I'll just read.
So I'll start off. Yeah. So look, the pieces are very simple, right? So as you know, Essen mentioned in the beginning, there's payments and there's logistics that sort of start this off. But more than that is people's access to internet and people's access to smartphones. So it all has to meet together. Like so marketplace is demand and supply. So yes, we can build the supply. We'll build the supply with payment solutions and with logistics and marketplaces. But the thing that needs to take off is demand. We need to increase people's education. We need to increase people's access to internet. We need our logistics to actually reach people in more remote areas. We don't even have an address cataloging system. Matlab, if you go to some address in Model Town, ek ghar 32 number hai, uske saath wala 326 number hai, right? So there's no way, so it's such a dysfunctional sort of, there's so many moving pieces to this. But like I said, the way to look at it in a structured and theoretical ways, you look at demand and you look at supply. Supply is like I said, logistics and payments, and demand is increasing brand, increasing awareness and all that.
Mera is pe Saad, thank you. The very good question actually, but I think the devil is in the details. So if you really ask me, just to give you a context, पूरे पाकिस्तान की 20% population सिर्फ banked है, which means 80% of the population has never ever opened a bank account, never, not even a mobile bank account. So huge disparity. तो even payments के अंदर भी बहुत opportunity है, और अभी भी आपको और मुझे पता है कि handling of cash is cheaper than paying online. You go somewhere, वो कहते हैं 5% ऊपर लगेगा जी, 3% ऊपर लगेगा credit card. And I mean, so cash is cheaper than handling virtual currency. So again, we need to, that's what we are talking to State Bank and the policymakers as well, कि हमें cash को महंगा करना है, cash सस्ता है इस वक्त handle करना और manage करना, which is actually a problem during even COVID. अगर हमने contactless delivery की बात करनी है तो उसमें भी ये एक challenge है. इसी तरह हर जो 9 अगर आप pillars देखें policy के, तो उसमें हर चीज में काम होने वाला है. Trust deficit में एक तरफ तो consumer protection है, बहुत सारे लोग comment भी कर रहे हैं कि मैंने ये मंगवाया और मिला कुछ और, but दूसरी तरफ merchant protection भी चाहिए. यूजर्स भी बहुत ज्यादा एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं मार्केट प्लेसेस को, कैश ऑन डिलीवरी को. 4 चीजें ऑर्डर करते हैं, 1 रिसीव करते हैं, 3 रिटर्न करते हैं, और एंड दे डोंट केयर, दे डोंट रियलाइज कि देयर इज अ रिटर्न कॉस्ट, देयर इज अ रिटर्न इन्वेंटरी मैनेजमेंट कॉस्ट, एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स कॉस्ट टू अ मर्चेंट, जो कि पहले ही बड़े थिन मार्जिन्स पे कई दफा काम कर रहा होता है. सो आई थिंक देयर आर एवरीथिंग नीड्स टू बी इम्प्रूव्ड, बट डिमांड एंड सप्लाई ऑफ कोर्स, एंड आई थिंक इसमें सिर्फ कुछ छोटी-छोटी गवर्नमेंट की फैसिलिटेशंस हैं which will bring about a larger delta impact.
ठीक है. I'll have this question now. Which business process re-engineering?
Sorry, lastly, taxation is one big thing as well. Taxation is a very big challenge, which we are also trying to work on the policy level as well. कि जो sales tax और वो सारी उस तरफ भी हमें incentivize करने की जरूरत है.
Another question, thank you, brother. So another question is, which business process re-engineering practices are adopted? As we all know that e-commerce isn't just a project, it's probably a proper way of working. So probably Muneeb, if you'd like to shed some light on it. What would be the few best BPR practices to be adopted during this time?
I mean, again, ultimately the thing is कि आप, मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल दे देता हूँ कि बेसिकली अभी तक जो है हमारी कोई हम रोजाना की बुनियाद पे ये मेजर नहीं करते थे कि एम्प्लॉइज की प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या है. ये तो शुक्र है कि कोरोना हुआ है तो हमने बेसिकली लोगों की रोजाना देखनी शुरू की है कि भाई आज आपने काम क्या किया है, यू नो. तो अभी इससे बेसिकली आप समझे बिजनेस प्रोसेस री इंजीनियरिंग हो रही है ना. ये पता लग रहा है कि भाई जो आधे लोग काम पे आ रहे थे, गप्पे मार रहे थे, सिगरेट पी रहे थे, वो असल में भी कोई काम कर रहे थे कि नहीं कर रहे थे. अब उनको बेसिकली डॉक्यूमेंटेड फॉर्म में बताना है कि उन्होंने रोजाना काम क्या किया है. सो पहली तो बिजनेस प्रोसेस री इंजीनियरिंग ये होगी ना कि आप ये देखें कि भाई आपके जो इतने ज्यादा लोग बॉडीज जो काम कर रही हैं वो किसी असल में भी काम कर रही है कि नहीं कर रही. And I think you know, this is something that we need to also you know, we need to any problem that we look at, we need to go back and really figure out what it is that we're really solving. You know, everybody says कि जी पेमेंट का बड़ा मसला है, जी पेमेंट का बड़ा मसला है. वो एग्जैक्टली मसला है क्या, ये तो पहले समझे ना कि what are we solving, right? अभी स्टेट बैंक को खुद मसला नहीं समझ, उनको तो ऊपर से डंडा दिया गया है कि जी आप जो है पाकिस्तान को डिजिटल करें ताकि हमारी टैक्सेशन ज्यादा कलेक्ट हो. क्यों? क्योंकि मैं आपको अगर मैं 100 रुपए बेसिकली देता हूँ फुरकान को, फुरकान देता है वही 100 रुपए बदर को, बदर देता है एहसन को, एहसन देती है नादिया को. बाय टाइम अहमद के पास 100 रुपए आते हैं तो 100 रुपए ही रहते हैं. जब डिजिटल लोगों की 2-2 रुपए बीच में से कटेंगे तो इसमें 10-12 रुपए तो कट जाएंगे. तो डिजिटल का फायदा किसको हुआ? जो वॉलेट कंट्रोल करते हैं और हुकूमत को फायदा. ठीक है. So ultimately, what are we solving? Why are we solving it? You know, and what is the value that the end customer gets? And I think fundamentally there are 2 problems, you know, with all this re-engineering that we're thinking about. Yeah, most of the people basically in Pakistan who are in technology have no product experience; they have service experience. यानी बेसिकली किसी वेस्टर्नर ने उनको उठा के कुछ रिक्वायरमेंट्स बताएंगे कि जी आपने ये बनाना है, उन्होंने बस वो रिक्वायरमेंट्स बना दी. उन्होंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं है. इसलिए बेसिकली आपको चीजें प्रोसेस करनी आती हैं लेकिन आपको री इंजीनियर नहीं करनी आती क्योंकि आपने कभी कोई प्रोडक्ट बनाया नहीं. तो पहली बात तो आप ये देखेंगे जी आपको अपने मसले क्या है, उन अपने मसलों को सॉल्व करें. ठीक है. एंड आई थिंक ultimately, this is, listen, I agree with Ahmed, I agree with basically, Badr, when they were saying, yes, there's an opportunity, but, there are a lot of fundamental problems in this country. Yeah, Badr जैसे कह रहे थे 20%, मैं आपको 20% की भी reality बताता हूँ. 220 million लोग हैं, ठीक है, और आपके basically तकरीबन 22 मिलियन डेबिट कार्ड अकाउंट्स हैं, जिसमें से यूनिक सिर्फ 12 से 13 मिलियन है, ठीक है. तो 12 से 13 मिलियन तो 5% होता है आबादी का. सो रियलिटी तो आपकी बहुत खराब है भाई. आपके बैंक नहीं है, लोग अनपढ़ लोग हैं, अपनी जबान में बेसिक नहीं लिख सकते. ये ऐसे लोग तो नहीं, सर्च भी अंग्रेजी में करते हैं. आपको सऊदी अरेबिया में चले जाए, कौन अंग्रेजी में सर्च कर रहा है? ईरान में चले जाए, कौन अंग्रेजी में सर्च कर रहा है? आपके अपने मुल्क में अपनी जबान में तो बेसिकली पढ़ लिख नहीं सकते. आपने एक और मुझे आप कहो जी फ्रांसीसी में बेसिकली आप जो है ना, आप ई कॉमर्स करो, तो भाई कैसे करूं? मैं तो अभी फ्रांसीसी सीखने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. So I think there are a lot of fundamental problems in Pakistan. So I think let's go back and re-engineer problems for ourselves and not take models जो कि बाहर में और say कि इसको बिल्कुल copy paste करो पाकिस्तान में. No, it's not going to work. We need to re-engineer बाहर के models for what is relevant for the country. And I think there are many problems to solve. I mean, for example, when we solved the bike taxi model,
I agree.
nobody thought it was a problem to solve.
Sorry, Gigi, go ahead, Munib.
Yeah, I'm done.
Questions on the chat.
Okay, thank you. I really like the passion that Munib brings, mashallah, to the table. I always enjoy listening to you, Munib. So this RFID question has been asked quite a few times now. So I would now pose this question to, especially to Munib, to Ahmed, and to also Ahsan. क्योंकि future जो है वो tracking का delivery का यही है कि it's mostly RFID, but that adds more cost in the delivery process. So how are the companies gearing up and getting ready for that? Because most are shifting, as someone also has asked that, from the GS1, the global standards barcodes, and how important are those for e-commerce selling, and how people are moving to RFID. And since this questions and we have so many of them, so I would like this to be the last question to be asked. Ji.
So we started with talking about all these SOPs that need to be implemented, right? We started talking about touch-free deliveries, right? So one of the fundamentals around that is tracking. Munib talked about that temperature check, right? Cheetah is already doing it. We've already started measuring every rider's temperature and putting it on. Now RFID is a proximity technology, right? इसकी conventional retail में भी बहुत application है. इसकी वो targeted geo fence marketing में भी बहुत इसकी applicability है. इसकी safety और security में बहुत applicability और इसकी tracking में बहुत, it's about micro distancing. Bluetooth is being used right now because वो phone पे readily available होता है, phone पे RFID पे पहुंचा नहीं, right? You've noticed कि अब cards लोग नहीं carry करते in the West, वो they just swipe their phone and that contactless payments and all of that, right? So it's all happening, right? To be fair, I'm not like a hardcore electrical engineer, so I'm not really sure कि RFID का specifically whether that is the right technology to adopt versus Apple sensors जो होते हैं or versus this Bluetooth or the near field. So technology is changing very quickly. RFID, to be very honest, my gut feel tells me it's almost a little old now. So obviously it's been upgraded a few times, but the whole concept of proximity is very, very important in logistics and touch free and tracking and all of the things that we're looking to solve.
Ji, Ahsan, and then Munib, your comments on RFID.
To be honest with you, I don't have any strong opinions or thoughts on this, so I would rather refrain unless I have something more knowledgeable to say.
Yeah, मुझे तो समझ नहीं आ रही RFID किस तरह इस्तेमाल होगी logistics में. So I don't get it. Like who's using it around the world?
मैं आपको बताता हूँ. जो मुझे समझ आई है, which I may be wrong. Again, I'm not a techie, Ahmed, जैसे आपने कहा. But my understanding is this is for supply chain efficiency. कि आपकी product, the moment it gets out of the factory or the production unit onwards, it just उसकी जो basically अभी हम QR code या वो normal barcode scanner लगाते हैं या manual करते हैं entries, तो जितने hands उसने move करने हैं वो आप वो RFID पे कर लें. But I think अभी Fasi, going to back to the fact, unless someone has a very consistent supply chain and a very robust demand कि उसके box moving is super fast requirement. I think abhi हम stage पे नहीं पहुंचे हैं of efficiency. I think it's a little early for the market. So anyone who unless they really need that, I think that would probably bring in.
Okay, one short answer from all of you. While the question is, what is your advice to those startups who are now getting into e-commerce or are pivoting, or those who are going to be bringing the businesses on the digital field? Stay lean, seek investment, don't seek investment. If you have already got an investment, don't watch your burn rate, very, very important. So just one short answer from all of you. So, Nadia. Sorry, let me unmute you. Nadia.
So under the present circumstances, and even given my own experience, I would say bootstrap as much as you can. Stay lean, bootstrap, and cut down on your expenses, because things are not turning around very fast.
Muneeb.
6 महीने लगाए, build something जो कि frontier geographies, emerging geographies में इस्तेमाल हो सके किसी न किसी तरह. Build now and be prepared 6 to 8 months from now.
Wow, very important. Ahmed, aapka kya khayal
hai? So like I said, earlier, I think you need to look at your cost base. Definitely, you need to operate at very lean sort of structures. Please try not to lay off people. And fix your processes and look at the new tools and look at the future of work, because that's what's actually going to help you survive this. Just be rock solid in whatever processes you implement, and use the best tools to do it.
Ehsan, your views, message for startups and small businesses.
Yeah, I think there are very good responses actually that Muneeb gave, and the ones we heard from Ahmed and Nadia. I think the only other one I would add then to that is besides actually cost cutting, watch your cash flows. Your entire working capital, your accounts receivable, your payables, your inventory, whatever, those you need to be very, very thoughtful of, and ensure that payment that's outstanding is not money you have, and so be very thoughtful in making sure that you tighten that. So sometimes you can compromise on profitability, but it's once you run out of cash as a startup, everything becomes very, very difficult. So I would say that very, very carefully watch your cash flow.
See, if I may jump in here, just to add to Muneeb's point, start building in 3 months. And the second point is, this is not a lifetime problem, coronavirus or whatever it is. Start booking orders in the future now. If you can book them now at a price that they're going to pay then, you at least have yourself busy to get some cash flow in, as Ehsan is saying.
Thank you, Furqan. Badr.
First of all, Fasi, thank you once again for bringing all of us together. I think I really enjoyed the conversation. I think कुछ fundamentals ठीक रखने की ज़रूरत है. We now SMEs need to unlearn and relearn. This is the time. This is now mandatory by nature for us to unlearn and relearn. बहुत सारे businesses मैं सुनता हूँ बंद हो रहे हैं, who I believe can easily pivot. हम लोग बहुत hard हो गए, हम change होना नहीं चाहते हैं. I think we need to accept the change and we need to pivot. We need to learn to pivot. जिस तरह मैंने आपको कुछ restaurants की example दी जिन्होंने cooked food नहीं बेच सकते थे, वो अब cooked kits भेज रहे हैं कि आपको खुद उसको cook कर लें. So I think unlearn, relearn करना ज़रूरी है. Keep your eyes on the bottom line. I think everyone is highlighting that for startups. And one last thing, move from CapEx to OpEx models. CapEx heavy models are not good for the coming months or few years. You need to move on the OpEx models. So I think these are the few things which I would strongly recommend.
Thank you, Badr, Nadia, Ehsan, Ahmed, Muneeb. What a wonderful, insightful session. I am so sorry, guys, all of you who are asking so many questions I have from online, from my team coming in, from Facebook, from many on my WhatsApp that I'm saying. I wish we had enough time, but we will continue doing these series on a weekly basis, inshallah. So I believe there are very nice key takeaways. You bring a lot of perspective to this problem as a great opportunity. Some people enjoy working from home.
I'm so sorry, Fasi, एक चीज important.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, एक चीज add करना चाहूँगा. I think Ehsan would agree I think SMEs do not focus on the core business. They spend more time, and Nadia would also probably validate this, कि वो बहुत सारी और चीजों में time लगाते हैं खुद करने में. They don't realize कि partnerships is the right model, collaborations is the right model. So focusing on the core business को भूल जाते हैं. So key एक ये और बहुत बड़ी मेरी learning है कि उनको majority time अपना core business पे और assortment पे और product को बनाने पे, product pricing पे और उन चीजों पे लगाने की जरूरत है. उसकी packaging पे, उसकी communication पे, and they skip those things. They copy paste those things. I think that's where innovation and creativity is required.
Absolutely. I agree.
Thank you, Ji, Badir, and thank you so much, Ahmed and Nadia. I believe you've answered a lot of questions on the Q&A section. Dhadhar mein dekh raha hoon, responses, mashallah, Ahmed to type kar rahe hain. And everyone else who's contributed to this. I believe it's a very nice key takeaway that you all mentioned: stay lean, stay innovative, pivot, be very, very careful about your burn rate in these months to come, but also see the light at the end of the tunnel and capitalize and retain those customers. Let it not be a temporary surge, make it permanent. Have those creative and innovative ideas to retain them, because that is where the cost is the least in order to, instead of going and acquiring new ones. Also, I really liked the role that I believe now you all as an industry have played in bringing e-commerce as a national subject, that Prime Minister is addressing it and everyone is concerned about it, which will also open more doors that the other concerns that all of you have as an industry and all of us as other stakeholders of this can be addressed too. एक चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि we opened our applications for our 8th cohort, and this time we opened it few months earlier, and we had around 300 responses. और मैं आज देख रहा था उनमें से ज़्यादा, so काफी लोगों ने सवाल किया कि क्या businesses हैं, are in the side of health tech, streaming, entertainment, gaming, and importantly, many e-commerce, food, grocery, delivery startups, market places, platforms. So I believe वो shift जो हम trend जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं वो आ रहा है. People are seeing where is the opportunity lying, and they are coming towards it. With this, I once again thank everyone. Have a great night, guys. Stay safe, stay well, stay home. Cheers. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Everyone.